Greetings, this is my 4th of July message. This video is being taken in Columbia County, Georgia, in front of our military memorial, which has the flags of all the branches represented. On the end, we have the United States Army, we have the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and on the end here, our POW flag, and of course, the red, white, and blue. Also want to thank the men and women in uniform, all the law enforcement personnel that are serving and have served our great nation. Well, it's another 4th of July, and we're reflecting on our freedoms. We often think of the men and women that put a uniform on so that, again, we can live in this great nation of ours that's being degraded by socialists, communists, Islamists, fascists. We think of those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. I'm here today to say, does America really appreciate them on a whole? I do with all my heart. However, we have a crisis in this country. A crisis that goes well beyond the VA. A crisis that involves tens of thousands. I believe 60,000 plus homeless veterans living under the bridges and abandoned buildings in this country. They go hungry every night. Not to mention the veterans that are not homeless, but that suffer the psychological impact of post-traumatic stress syndrome. Not to mention the veterans that have sacrificed so much for our nation, that have lost limbs and various body parts so that we can have this 4th of July this year. Well, people, here's the crisis. Our government, under the present and previous administrations, have ignored the plight of the hungry homeless vets. How can I dare say this? When we can spend more money, far more money, on refugees over veterans, that's a problem. And here's another problem. When people who call themselves patriots, militia, and 3%ers, and yes, I'm a proud 3%er, say that they support our troops, say that they believe in veterans over refugees, but it's only in words only, I have a problem. Because it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what you do. Even the Word of God, the true Word of God, the Bible, not the words of Satan, the Quran, but the Word of God, the Bible, the one that talks about God's only begotten Son, that if you haven't asked Him in your heart, you should, says, be doers of the Word, not hearers only. On April 18th, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, with the agenda to attempt to raise awareness of the plight that it is time to put veterans over refugees. Only one other person attended. Consequently, I've been scoffed at, mocked. This was promoted for weeks and even months ahead of time. It seems that patriots don't want to make the sacrifice to stand up for those that have sacrificed so much. You know, I hate to brag, but I have to do it now. I am the only 3%er and only militia person in America that has stood up to vast public ridicule and backlash from mainstream media. If I'm wrong, contact me, Stachowiak1990 at gmail.com, and show me. Because show me one or two articles where any of you, or any other group has stood up for the veterans over refugees. Show me 2 or 3 articles, mainstream of course, and then I'm going to ask you for a dozen more. Because there are dozens of articles about what I and Terry Jones did to raise awareness that it is time to put veterans over refugees. People, I am sick and tired of those that say one thing and do another. You're in action, patriots. Yes, this is a rebuke. That you're in action. To publicly get out, organize rallies and protests to support veterans over refugees is outrageous. The fact that Americans aren't publicly taken to the streets and protests over the latest information on Benghazi is another issue I'll address in another video. Because in the 50s, America executed a couple for selling atomic secrets to the Russians. Nobody died in that. Hillary Clinton and Obama, their inaction when Benghazi was under attack resulted in Americans dying. And they're selling off of secrets and sharing vital classified documents with enemies of America merits a trial, but no, she walks. Hillary should be put on trial like the Rosenbergs, and if found guilty, receive the appropriate punishment that the law requires. Not advocating anything unlawful or unethical here. I'm out talking about within the system. So again, people, this 4th of July, when you're out drinking your beer, taking your kids to the park, having that hot dog, having that hamburger, remember that somewhere in your country and in your town and in your city, there is a homeless vet that's going hungry tonight because your government that you remain silent on this issue about is feeding and housing refugees. Remember that nice pleasant thought next time you take a bite of that hot dog or drink that nice cold beer. This is Jim. I'm out of here.